about this tie. I had this flown in from Scotland. This is made from the tartan of our the Chanter clan. The Chanter clan goes back to the Montgomery clan, back to the 1100s. And if it's not Montgomery, I'm not wearing it. Anyway, my kilt will be coming soon, made of this. And I'll do some twirls. No, I'm teasing about the kilt. Yeah, that was a good idea. This morning I want to begin with an old story. Things are not always what they seem. Have you ever played those games before, or pictures that you look at them and it looks, in fact there's a wire statue I saw once and it looks like a giraffe, a mama giraffe and a little baby giraffe, until you turn sideways to it and then it becomes two elephants. It's amazing. In fact, they have one of these artworks down in the Orlando airport, and if you walk around the back of it, then it's two dolphins. And if you walk around the other side, I forget what it is, it's two something else's, buffaloes or something. But depending on how you look at it, it's kind of an amazing piece of artwork. I don't know who came up with that, but it's brilliant. Things are not always what they're saying. Well, there's an old legend, a story about God sent two angels to earth to see if he can find true compassion amongst people and love and care. So one was a very old and experienced angel. One was a very young apprentice, brand new, right out of the box. So they're traveling along and they come to this very wealthy mansion, huge. And they knock on the door and they ask for residence for the evening. And of course, at first they said no and no and no, but the angels persisted. And finally, sheaves, take them down to the basement. They were given a cold basement, no bed or nothing, just they could sleep on a concrete floor if they wanted. So they went down and they graciously, they weren't given any dinner or supper or anything. So they stayed on the basement floor that night. And during the night, the young angel saw the old angel come over at the wall of the basement, huge basement. And he noticed there was a hole in the wall. And it was all just one huge white giant wall. And so the angel waved his hand, the older angel waved his hand over the wall. And the hole magically disappeared, immediately disappeared, and the wall was made whole and perfect all the way down. And the next morning they woke up. They were given no breakfast or anything, but just told to leave the house quickly and don't come back. So they walked on. It got to be night again. They came to a very poor man's house, a shanty, a hovel. And the poor man and his wife greeted the angels at the door and invited them in right away and shared their meager dinner with them and gave them the best portion of what little soup they had. And then gave them their own bedroom and their bed and all that. And said, we're just poor people. We don't have much, but what we have is yours. The only money that we make, the only substance that we have is our cow out front, is a very good milking cow. So we sell the milk and we have a little money, but not much. But what we have a few coins stored. You may have for your journey. Well, the next morning the angels got up. They were fed bread for breakfast and toast. And off they went. And as they were going, leaving, the young angel noticed the cow in the front yard there was dead. It died during the night on the ground. And the young angel asked the older angel, "Did you do that?" He says, "Well, kind of, yeah." And the young angel didn't understand. He said, "Why would you fix a man's basement and a hole in the basement for people who were mean and ugly and nasty to us, and yet you'd take the only means of support away from this good, generous, loving, compassionate, poor couple, knowing that's all they had?" And the older angel said, "Son, when you get older and you've been a little more experienced, you'll begin to understand things are not always as they seem. When I looked into that hole in the basement, I noticed the man had been stashing and storing away gold that his wife did not know about, because he was thinking about taking the gold and leaving her and leaving everything and all the children. So I fixed the wall and made it perfect all the way down so he wouldn't know where the gold was anymore without tearing down the whole wall. And last night as we slept, the angel of death showed up, and he had come for this man's wife. And I went to God, and God said, give him the cow instead. So I ordered that the cow be taken, that this man could live and keep his wife. And the young angel began to learn. So both things were done for reasons that we could not perceive. Well, Jesus does a lot of that in the scriptures. You know, leprosy was a death sentence in the first century. Very contagious. And a horrible way to die. Horrible way to die. So much so that once you were discovered with leprosy, you were thrown out of the populous areas and made to wander in the wilderness and the deserts and the canyons and the rocky crags, lifeless places. Because pretty soon you were just going to be a corpse rotting on the ground anyway. They had to yell out if they saw any other human, unclean, unclean. That's told people, I have leprosy. Stay away from me. And no one would touch a leper. In fact, it would be better if they just went into the wilderness and starved to death to get rid of them. And yet this leper falls before Jesus on his hands and knees in the dirt. And he says, Lord, if you are willing. And we're told, moved with great compassion, Jesus reached out, first thing we're told, and touched him. And said, I am willing. And immediately the man was healed. Wow. 2 verses was all Mark writes down. Jesus should have run the other way. Should have picked up a stone and thrown at him like was the custom. And Jesus touched him, and the man was healed. But after he touched him, he said, I am willing. We're going to talk about that today. First, I want you to stand up. We're going to sing first and last of, well, you guessed it. He touched me.